All right, what's up, guys?
How's it going, Mike?
How are we?
Excellent.
Sorry, I'm running a minute late here. Just bombing around this new spot. Dude, I'm in love with this chair. My wife picked this thing out. This thing is awesome.
Nice. Nice. I thought it was one of your fake backgrounds.
No. This is the real deal. I'm in Dallas launching another property, and this thing is amazing.
Very cool.
Let's see. So I will go, why don't we go around the horn? Let me know kind of a status update on where you're at, and then what question do you have? So why don't we start off with you, Bernie, because you're the first one I see.
So far, I'm just starting to look at some properties now. I'm starting to do the evaluations, you know, looking at them, looking at what they should generate. I started first looking at my competitors in my direct market to see if I can take those guys over and represent them. But they seem to be doing pretty good. They were right around what AirDNA said that they should be doing. So no real opportunity there. But you know, my market's really small. So I'm going to go to the next 2 towns over where there's really no Airbnb, no AirDNA, no anything. But they're decent sized towns. So I'm going to try to take a look at some rental properties there and run some numbers and see how that goes. I've been trying to do one a night. My business.
Hey, Tommy, can you mute yourself, buddy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my main business is just starting to slow down now where I can have a little extra time in the evening. So I'm trying to do at least 1 property a day so that I get it to roll and habit of doing it.
Okay. So what are you going with? You going with co-hosting or leasing?
Yeah, no, co-hosting. Yeah, I don't want to get into a leasing. So I should be, by January I should be able to be a super host. So
okay.
That's what I'm aiming for January once I get my super host status. Or I mean, I'll probably just start anyway. If I find one that makes sense, I'll go talk to them right away. Because if they're not involved in Airbnb, they probably don't know what a super host is. So.
Yeah, they're not gonna know.
Yeah. So yeah, just a whole co-hosting model is what I'm looking at.
Okay, good. That's great. Anything I can help you with, or any questions I can answer tonight?
Not right now. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Shane, what's up, buddy? Look at you looking all friggin' jacked and shit.
Does it make you more comfortable if I keep it Clark Kent? Is that?
Oh God, yeah. Keep it going.
No, and it's actually, dude, that's the beauty of Florida, man. I mean, it's like 80 degrees here. I love it.
I thought Dallas is supposed to be warm. I got here, it's like 45. I was like, what is this shit?
Yeah, Dallas can be super hit or miss. I grew up, I was there for about 5 years, like as a youngster. But anyway, so logistically, my website should go live like in the next 48 hours. I think I'm done with all of that. I just paid the last thing I needed to have like Wix host it for me. Yep. And the lady who designed it, by the way, her name's Kelsey. She did it she gave me like a veteran discount, but she did it for about $500.
Sweet.
And then she'll manage it for like $12 a year. So if anybody ends up looking for that, I'm happy to refer you to her. And she was quick.
Nice.
So, and then once I have that, then anything else kind of like administrative, like a business card and the investor deck, I should be able to knock the rest of that stuff out. I have my logo. That's all done.
Okay.
I've got a few videos left to knock out, really like the last week or two. And then I have really nothing holding me back from starting to prospect and actually talk to people. Started to do research on a couple specific areas. Actually this weekend. So there's an area north of Tampa, about 30 minutes. It's called Wesley Chapel. And there's two things up there intrigue me. Number one, it's called a Crystal Lagoon. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically like somebody drops a beach in the middle of nowhere. It's fucking insane. And so I'm part of a larger project for my company, which is making one out towards the west coast of Florida that's literally acres big. So it's kind of like creating a tourist destination unto itself. And so that's kind of like a way that my full-time gig is sort of aligning. And I can watch that for opportunities. The other intriguing thing, so within 10 minutes of this Crystal Lagoon I visited this weekend, they are building a brand new county, they named it after the county, but it's essentially like a sports complex with an academy in it as well. And the article that I read in the Business Journal said that they anticipate 27,000 visitor nights for this thing a year. Wow. So I went up there and I drove it just to get my bearings. I haven't even looked on AirDNA or anything else. I just kind of wanted to get a sense of the area. The good news is there's a shit ton of new residential going in up there for way less than it is here in Tampa. The bad news is anybody I talk to, they all have some stipulation in their HOA that says you can't do a lease for anything less than 6 months. So I'll kind of have to figure that out. There's some other areas up there that are not as new that there might be like kind of a value add opportunity, which would work. And then, yeah, so really, like I said, starting to dig into the research there, as well as Kansas City. That's where I grew up for the most part. There's a couple specific areas there that I'm super intrigued by and kind of going
Missouri or Kansas?
Kansas side.
Okay.
There are so this would be 40 minutes outside of Kansas City proper. It's called Leawood. And it's really where I grew up. I don't know if it's not the biggest, it's one of the first or second, but it's the largest like Methodist church in the United States. I mean, they have a campus that's 10,000 people go to like worship there. Like that's how big the arena is. And so they have a constant traffic in and out, and all up and down like the main road that's next to it. There's new hotels going in for that and other business. So kind of like looking for those markers that you mentioned in terms of new hotel development, and then trying to zone in on some specific, demographics of people to cater to. I see some kind of like non-seasonal, like kind of, evergreen sources of people to go to. So I'm zoning in on some areas, and this will be something, I guess I have a question for you, Mike. And Alan Murray. Yeah. So one of the things that Grant, I know that I will be way more confident speaking to an investor whose property I'm going to take over if I can at least point at one that I've done for myself and say, look, this works. I did it with my own money. It's just like, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, right? Okay. And so one of the things that he and I have been talking about, their loan programs are starting to appear that are based on a property's investment value vice its actual market value. So like you could go get a property appraised and it's, $100,000, right? Like is the market value. If you're able to show the lender that with the short-term rental option or any rental option that like kind of like a more like a cap rate type value, right? That its bottom line is actually like 115 or 120, they will lend you 120 on that property. The extra 20 goes back to your down payment. So then you're actually in a property for no money, independent of whatever rehab that you would have to do. And so the margins of that are insanely intriguing to me. I'm just kind of curious if you've approached anything using that, or if that's something you've caught in wind of yet. Need to start with actual guys.
Yeah. So it's a new this whole short-term rental business has spawned so many offspring, from like insurance to lending to all these other like offspring of it. So it's still pretty new. I think Mike Jones posted something last week about another company that was like a different approach on how to lend on short-term rentals. I personally haven't gone that route, but you know, this house might be a project of that, where, you know, the owner's going to keep this house and wants to show like 12 months of historicals. If he decides to sell it as an investment property. Right. So it's still really new. I would think, so what are your goals for short-term rentals? Like,
well,
is it to just go ahead. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, if I'm looking like 3 meter target, first property making money Q1 of 2020.
But what's your why? Like your bigger why?
Freedom. Like 1,000%. I mean, there's some more like emotional based things that I don't know. I may not feel like real comfortable getting into right now, but I love my job. I really like my company. And to be honest, I feel like I'm the third dude in a startup that might end up being worth, $1 billion someday. So I like it. However, I have already turned down certain other opportunities in life. Not necessarily that I wouldn't have, but I wouldn't have been able to make the decision because I'm not financially independent.
Yep.
And that bugs the fuck out of me. Like the idea of missing out on an opportunity and having to look back on it because I couldn't take it because of me not being able to support myself. I hate that. I hate that.
Okay. So if the goal is cash flow, right? Like my goal is cash flow.
Correct.
And your target is to get that first deal as quick as possible. If you have some cash, or you partner with Alan and he puts in the cash and you run it, do a lease first, right? Just get a lease up and running. You don't really need to pitch. I mean, you obviously want to tell the owner, right? Like all the benefits, like you're going to take better care of it. You're going to get his rent on time, whatever, but you're not asking them to invest in the deal. It's just like, I'll take it as it is and I won't be a headache. I'll take care of any minor maintenance, all that kind of stuff. And then that way you just have full control over it. And then if that's what you want, then you'll feel more confident going to talk to the next one about co-hosting. Or you might just say, screw it. Like I'm generating enough cash flow from the lease model that I want to continue that, right? Like I know a lot of folks that's all they do is the lease model.
Okay.
I went a different route where I own one and I'm about to own some more, but my co-hosting, I just didn't have cash. Like I didn't have access to cash. So that was my whole thing. Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know if that helps, but I think from like the 3 meter thing to like hit the ground running as fast as possible, that would be the fastest way to do it, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I have some, I think I could get more based upon just relationships, but I'm with you. Part of the reason I'm so intense on this right now is I don't have as much as I would like, period. And I would rather have a little bit less skin in the game and start squeezing more out of it up front,
Yep.
But there's always benefit to margin on that later on. So, I'm pretty adaptable in terms of which strategy is. Like, look, I'll use whichever. But I realize there might be some wasted focus if I'm trying to figure out too many things.
Yeah. And it's playing the long game where maybe you don't make that much on the first deal, but it gets the track record rolling. And then you're more confident talking to other owners and just showing them the potential, right? Like it's playing the long game.
Right. Okay.
So cool. All right. Any other questions, buddy?
Not at the moment. No.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep it moving. I want to get through everybody's questions. And then if you guys want to see it, I'll do a walkthrough of kind of where we're at on this build out and kind of show how we did that remotely. And now we're just punching it up. We got Daniel. What's going on? You want to unmute yourself?
Sorry, I just unmuted that. So Mike, we spoke, I'm Chad's partner.
Gotcha. What's up, buddy?
Last week. What's going on, man? This is my first time hopping on the call. So I kind of just wanted to see generally what takes place on these. And I checked out a couple in the past, but just a bit of an update on our situation. So I've gone through a lot of the South Florida market. and have reached out to plenty of realtors for the properties that made sense numbers wise. I've run into a couple hiccups. It seems like there's a number of property management companies, professional companies that are already kind of in this short-term rental management game in a lot of these areas in South Florida, which makes sense because they're some of like the oldest, vacation rental markets. So, when I'm speaking with realtors, a lot of them are privy to what we're looking to do. And for better or for worse, they've been reached out to by 4 or 5 plus in the past for certain properties, and some of them have this kind of automatic resistance to it, where it's just kind of like, I can't even get into explaining, the benefits of what we're doing and getting into the pitch, because there's almost this type of emotional resistance to it. And I know, so originally I was going in with the idea that, I want to be as upfront as possible, that I say, like, I run a property management company, we'll act as a normal tenant, sign a 12-month lease, and then sub-rent it out through Airbnb or VRBO. And, I had heard, I checked out one of the other coaching calls, I think a couple weeks ago or something, where you said it might not be the best idea to start off with that too soon. So I wanted
Are you doing that on the phone or in person, or where are you having that conversation?
Yeah, on the phone. So a lot of these realtors, I'll start off with a text to set up a call, to say I'm interested in one of the properties they've listed. And then once we get on the call, I'll ask a couple questions about the property for, things that, just to make sure like the numbers worked well. And
so why are you going through realtors though?
Just because that's, through, through whether I find them through Zillow, or Trulia, or whatever the case may be.
So I would highly recommend not doing it near a fire truck. Hang on,
Sorry.
I'll let that pass. It's all good. Here, why don't you put yourself on mute while I respond?
Trying to mute myself here.
So what I would focus on is I would do a search for rent by owner. So whether that's on Craigslist or Zillow or any of those, because you're going to have to pitch this person, who that person is then going to have to pitch the owner.
Right.
Like you're relying on them to pitch it as good as you would, and they will never pitch it as good as you do.
Right. So I did also check out Craigslist as well. I was surprised at how dry Craigslist seems for listings of for rent by owner as well. There's a number of for rent by owner properties that, are listed by a real estate agent and are just misrepresented, which isn't great. But yeah, so, a bit surprising given how many rentals there are in these markets, that how few are actually on Craigslist. And that totally makes sense. Like if I could get in front of the owner, it'd be much easier to sell than, a real estate agent who thinks that they've been through this with, either similar people doing this or people who may not have had, the best representation of what we're trying to do.
Okay.
So I struggle with that. And so this was, I posted in the group recently, I did through Chad's Facebook about, and so there's a lot of Airbnbs that are already existing, and a lot of them that are clearly not run by professionals and not run as effectively as they could be. And I was wondering if you knew a way to try to get into contact with these people, because you can't see their exact address, so you can't.
Well, we used to message them, but then Airbnb will bitch slap you for doing
right.
that.
They'll flag you. I called them about that.
Yeah, and so they kind of like took that off the table. So unless you know the area and you know that property, or you just go and stay in the property for a night.
Yeah.
Now you're a paying customer, and then try and communicate with the owner that way. But I think honestly, it's just putting in the reps. And if you're nervous about there's not enough people in this market that I can talk to, I'll give you a tip that my real estate coach gave me years ago when I was looking at just buying apartments. And he basically would just have me call real estate agents and apartment owners in a completely different market that I had no desire to be in anyway. So even if I totally botched the calls, it didn't matter because I didn't care. But it got me reps to call people and like refine my pitch in a market that I didn't even care about.
Okay, cool.
So then when I actually made the calls in the market that I cared about, Like I already had it dialed in.
Yeah. I mean, I actually feel pretty comfortable on the phone. I mean, like, you know, from that credibility deck that you gave, a lot of those points I just vocalize, which makes it, you know, relatively easy because I have somewhat of a good, you know, like a set of notes for, you know, for the script on a call.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of like, how do you see, what do you think I should do in order to better find either places that are for rent by owner, or be able to contact owners a bit more directly, in a market where Craigslist doesn't show a ton of properties that have that characteristic?
Honestly, are you local?
Chad's local, and I'm working remotely effectively. I can go down there as well, but haven't.
I mean, if you're local, they call it driving for dollars. You literally just drive your car around and look for for rent signs.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of those old school, a lot of those old school landlords, they like, feel like it's kind of changing now, but some of them that are really old school, they're like, oh, I don't want to do this internet thing. I just want to stick a sign out and somebody will rent my place. So, you know, a lot of them are totally newbies to like online in general, but I think you just got to keep doing what you're doing and just pounding pavement and then figuring out, you know, if it's not, because I know like we talked the other night and it was like, if that's not the market, find another one, right? Where you can do it. But it sounds like you're doing all the right things. Just keep focusing every single day. I would literally check every morning, noon and night when I got started for any new listings that I hadn't messaged yet. And I would just instantly, as soon as I hit, it'd be like, boom, 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 just hitting them over and over again. So.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like eventually, you know, it's a numbers game. Eventually one has to be interested in the opportunity.
Exactly. So there's not exactly like a shortcut or like a hack for, I'd say, finding owners other than driving for dollars, using those different search sites. I mean, you could invest in like mailers and stuff. I just don't know, like you got to spend a lot of money for that to actually work. And you got to be like thorough with it. You know, a lot of guys do it for like buying houses or foreclosures or pre-foreclosures or any of that kind of stuff. And it's like, you could do it. I personally haven't, so that's why I don't really teach it. I don't like to teach stuff unless I've done it. So like for me, it was just like staying relentless on those platforms and just sending emails to try and get appointments in person.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you know, whether it's problematic within the South Florida market, or maybe I'm doing, maybe something's wrong within, you know, my spreadsheet where some, you know, the properties that are meeting the criteria are fewer than they should be. Maybe I'm being too harsh, you know, with the calculations there. But, you know, once I look into, which I think, you know, throughout this week and later this week, I'll start looking into some other markets. And I think, you know, after seeing them, if there's a big difference between whether I can find owners or realtors respond, I'll be able to kind of make some comparisons between whether this market, you know, that I originally started in might just be more difficult because it's kind of more built out, more saturated, and there's some other people doing this already.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions that you got for me or anything else I could help you guys with? Dan, I don't know if you muted yourself.
Oh, no, I think that's all for me. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's see. Kasim, what's up, buddy? How are you? It's been a while. I think you're on mute.
Off mute. Hey. Yeah, it's been a bit. Just dealing with the myriad of laws up here, but I've acquired, or I'm about to acquire, 2 new properties up in the Lake Arrowhead area. So they were referrals. I'm looking at one Sunday. The other one, I'm not too sure about. The lady's dealing with the county right now. She seems a little discombobulated when I spoke to her.
Okay.
So I don't really want to fight with anybody on stuff, but the gentleman, he seems to be, you know, had a very frank conversation with him about how I do things and what I expect. And, you know, he seems to be, you know, he understands what I'm trying to do. He's a, you know, and he owns a restaurant, so he gets it. Whereas she, my first conversation with her was, I don't know. She bought this property. It looks like a lot of things are an afterthought, and it's not a high income area. It can be, because I've turned this other property around, which is why I think I got the referrals. So, so yeah, that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, cool. Any questions you got for me?
No, just everything's explanatory in the videos. Just watching. So
All right,
congratulations. Cool. I've thought about moving into Dallas, but
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, it's an odd place for me. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on and let you know that oh, and and I changed some things to take advantage of in terms of SEOs, and that definitely brought an uptick in rentals for LA. And
so what'd you do specifically?
In one case, the owner, he just had it in his mind what he wanted to advertise, and I'm within 4 miles of all the studios of Universal's, Disney, and I was like, dude, nobody cares about your hardwood floors. We're putting this in the titles.
Yeah.
This is why people are visiting.
Yeah. I'm not coming here to lick your floor, dude. I'm going to Universal.
Yeah. And so that has changed it. And the same thing for Lake Arrowhead, people are coming up there for the peace and quiet, but you got a couple things around there. They're just looking to stay warm when they come home. Yeah, that's it. So the proof has kind of been in the pudding. Now that the numbers are in and I'm exceeding the AirDNA numbers, I have a lot more weight to throw around and just do things my way. Nice. And I'm not the one that owes the mortgage. So it's really easy.
It's a good spot to be in.
Exactly. So yeah.
But I bet you're still netting that person more than they would make on a regular lease.
Oh, by double.
Yeah. Exactly.
By let's see. On the 4-bedroom house, I'm on target. And remember, I had a glitch happen in August where Airbnb, it was screwing up the calendar, putting all these crazy rules in it. And I was having to keep rebuilding it. So I lost 3 weeks before I just said, screw Airbnb, I'm going to redo it myself. So I'm on target for like $140,000 for first year. So that far exceeds what you get on a rental market.
That's awesome.
And then the Lake Arrowhead stuff, there's a way to get that stuff going. It's just, I'm learning more about that community and environment, and I've seen improvements there as well. So I'm working on these two, and I'll see with her. Both these properties, if they go through, should be online by mid-January. Oh, and then somebody else glommed me to a woman. She's moving back to Australia, keeping her property here. That'd be up in the Echo Park area. So that's 3 things.
Nice.
And I'm not forcing it or pushing it. Like I was listening to other gentlemen, you talk to these property owners and stuff like that. And I kind of just let them talk and take my cue. But it's just like, how much do I feel like educating this person? Because it's always a whole bunch of stuff that they don't know, that they think they know, that they heard from somebody else. And,
Yeah. I like to just feel them out and just see, like, what is their goal? Do you just want to earn more income? Cool. Then just shut up and let me do what I do. Give me a credit card and let me do what I do, and I will make you more money.
It's kind of like dating. It's like you got to let her go and find out how horrible it is out there, and visit in 3 months. Oh, you done? Okay.
See what you've been missing, baby.
Like it's 6 billion people on the planet, and I've got a passport. So.
Yep.
All right, I actually have to drop off, but that's it for me. I'll chime in next week.
One thing I want to run by you real quick, because I was thinking about this earlier this week. There's a couple people that have started to gain traction, and you were one of the early ones that just got a bunch of units quick, or you might have had 1 or 2 before you started, and then you were ramping up.
I had a few before, and then I lost one. I lost one to it's rent control, so those have to go away in LA, And
Yep.
then the new law, you can't take a house and split it up. I actually had it split so I'd never lose a day. Like I'd be able to rent the pool house and all that kind of stuff. That had to go away. So it's just one property now.
Okay. Yeah, because what I'd like to do is do like an interview with people individually and then share it with the group. So it's like, okay, how did you do it? How'd you get the first one? What are the
Okay.
numbers? And then like kind of share it in here and let everybody see like this is how everybody's doing it.
Okay.
And then we'll probably, quite frankly, I'll probably learn some stuff too that you guys might have done differently than I would have done. And I think it would just be good to like have that, you know, as you get your first one, boom, okay, sick, let's hear about it, and do like more of a formal interview.
Okay.
So
I'm down. Let me know.
Okay, cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for jumping on. It was good seeing you.
Yep. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Right. Let's see who else we got on. Demetrius, what's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, good. So where did we land with Vegas? We find that it's a no-go, or what are we doing?
It's a no-go legally, but I don't think that's going to stop me from doing it to my own house.
Okay.
I figured I would still follow up with your wife and get it designed and get it all going. And
Okay.
once I get that letter to cease and stop renting it out, then I will do a conventional rental, take everything out to storage, and then find the houses in Henderson where it is more Airbnb friendly.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So there's a question I had for you, and I totally just lost my train of thought. Oh, did you connect with Neil?
I have not. I've been in California the past week, so I told him I'd hit him up when I get there on Thursday. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you got his contact info.
I did. I appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he's a great guy. You'll like him a lot.
Yeah.
So
it just sucks like having the first house already there for me, but not being able to do it legally. And I was like trying to go around that in my head. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, like I said, I don't want to tell you either way what to do. Like quite frankly, if it was my house, I would probably do exactly what you're going to do. Because the worst thing that they're going to tell you to do is stop. I just wouldn't want you to like start building your business around it and then put yourself in a hole because of it.
I get it. I mean, I wouldn't be putting myself in a hole because all the stuff that I purchased through the design that you're doing can be transferred over to the next house that I get in Henderson, which all I have to do is apply for a permit and I'm good to go.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Henderson has some partnership with NoiseAware now, that it's like mandatory that you have a NoiseAware, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yep, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on back order, by the way. It's like another 3 more weeks before I get that.
Well, I'm going to grab Dave in a minute because I'm at his house and I'll tell him to get his shit together and get you a NoiseAware. All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Any other
worst case scenario, it's like the only way they would know if I have an Airbnb is if the neighbors complain, and my neighbor is super cool. So I figured I could have at least a year's worth of putting it on Airbnb Live.
Okay, cool. Any questions I could answer for you at this point then?
No, not really. It's just more of hopefully they don't stick me with the bill to pay the city.
Okay. All right, cool. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Cool. How's everything?
It's good, man. It's good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Just been working the one property I have. Been, fielding a lot of questions, and so it's been helping me with setting up smart B&B to kind of try to automate all these things. So that's kind of what I've been working on there. I just finished reading Profits First, a good book. Appreciate the recommendation. So actually I had a question with that too. So when you're you know, I know all the income coming into one account, and then, you know, you're quickly separating, you know, your share of the money over, you know, taking it out of that kind of that pooled account.
So I do that once a month. So
Okay.
I pay basically, it's actually happening this week, right? Because I make sure that I pay my owners by the 15th. So one thing I got to do over the next couple of days is I'm getting my numbers from my accountant now, or the bookkeeper, and basically like the owner escrow account, all the money goes in there. Then what I did before was I would pay all the bills, all the like supply runs and cleaners and everything else out of that account. Recently, I got a business credit card because I wanted to build business credit. So I'm paying everything out of that and then just transferring it once a month to pay it off.
Okay.
It's just adding another layer. It's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's actually, I'm going to do the same thing.
But then then I do my owner reports. I initiate the ACH transfers, and then I also transfer my monthly management fee from the owner's escrow into my income account.
Okay, so both those things get done in the same day.
Yep. And then once it's in the income account, then I'll do my profit first allocations from the income account.
So with that disbursement that goes to the homeowner, does that become a like a 1099 situation? And that's really my question. I was thinking about that, and I don't really know if it does or not.
I'm going to be meeting with my CPA in the next few weeks, and I'll let you know, to be totally honest with you.
Okay, so that means then you have not been 1099ing them up to this point. No.
Because quite frankly, last year for 2018, I only had the property that I owned. Then I started like co-hosting. I launched that business at the end of 2018. The revenue was peanuts, so I didn't.
Okay.
I probably should have, but I didn't. But this year will be different because it's up there now. So I'm gonna have all that.
So let me know what they say. I'm kind of because I was thinking about that, and to me it kind of seems like you should have to 1099 them, but don't know. Yeah, and
probably will. Because it depends. Like it's probably going to be different for each account, quite frankly, because some counts that I've just taken over, like Airbnb already like 1099s them.
Okay.
And then then they'll be 1099ing me.
Right.
Because they're paying me a management fee. Right. So I think it's going to be a little dicey, but I'll let you guys know after I have that meeting for sure.
All right, cool. Appreciate that. And then, so another question I had was, you know, one of the things, obviously this comes down to your niche and who you're kind of serving, but it seems like, you know, a lot of times you're serving like the vacation type market, but are there any kind of extra amenities or things that you're doing? Like one I just heard about that I thought was interesting and just wanted to share with everybody was like grocery shopping, to where basically, you know, you'll set that up and get something to set you apart from the other people and the from the competition. So have you tried grocery shopping? What's your thoughts on it? Or are there any other things like that you're using that are working well for you?
No, I have not done grocery shopping for my guests. Honestly, I furnish it very well, or I don't. My wife designs it very well. And it's all like the little things that like we put in, right? So like, again, I like to cater to families. So I'll make sure every property's got a pack and play, a high chair, a stroller. Like not a lot of people do that. They might have a pack and play, but I don't know. I haven't seen anybody else do a stroller or a high chair. And then we'll do like some kids games and stuff like that. For properties that we cater more towards business travelers, like I will have like a legit desk with a Wi-Fi printer and a whiteboard. Like a lot of people don't do that. I haven't had to offer any additional quote unquote like services. Not to say I wouldn't in the future, but I'm working to build systems that streamline across like multiple states now. And so for me to to figure all that extra stuff out is just not worth the extra revenue for me at this point. But
Okay.
if I had, you know, a few listings locally, yeah, like maybe I would do that. But there's always like little. So actually this morning, Dave was showing me a local coffee shop, and we were talking to the owner to see, like, you know, could they give us like a discount for any of our guests or whatever. And he's like, well, actually, like, one other Airbnb host like came in here and negotiated a rate with us, and basically any of her guests come in, they drop her name and they get a free beverage on her, like a free coffee. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They just bill her once a month at like a discounted rate, and she picks up the tab for coffee for everybody that stays at her place.
Cool. Yep.
So I was like, oh, I'd never heard of that. That's pretty interesting. So, I mean, it's as creative as you want to be totally honest with you. So I would love, if you guys think of anything, definitely share it in the group, because, you know, the more we share, the better, quite frankly. So that was something I learned today, just talking to somebody.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. So, oh yeah, that's it for me. So I'm just been out there networking and just trying to, you know, get my name out there and let people know what I'm doing. Just waiting for some more properties.
Did you find any more real estate meetups or any of those meetups that you were looking for?
Yeah. So I'm
Good.
actually, so there's someone that is hosting. Sounds like they're doing what you were doing, where they're basically teaching the Airbnb process. And so I'm actually attending that, not this week, but the following week. So I'm gonna go see what that's all about and maybe make a connection there. And so we'll see.
Okay. Yep. I would go to that one, and then I would try and get to any other just general real estate investing meetups, because that person is doing what I was doing. So you're going to be like competition to them, possibly.
Right. Yep. Definitely.
But any other like traditional RIA meetups, real estate investing associations, would be great.
Yeah, there's definitely a few in my area.
All right. I am just going to pull up the Facebook group.
I'm gonna mute myself here.
Cool. One other thing that I was just thinking of, I don't know why this popped into my head, probably because whatever, it doesn't matter. But if anybody's on Bigger Pockets, which is like the real estate investing like forum website, just post, like, go on there and answer people's questions about short-term rentals, and do it consistently. Don't ask for anything. Just go in there and answer questions, and you'll start to build a reputation as like the Airbnb guy or girl or lady, whatever, of your market, just by doing that and answering other people's questions, just giving value. So that's another avenue you could go. And they have a marketplace on there. Go ahead.
The beginning part cut out, but you were saying, did you say on Bigger Pockets?
Yeah, I would just answer. I would go in the short-term rental forum and just answer people's questions, and then they'll be like, "Oh, like, it's not going to happen overnight, most likely, but it's going to give you, like, people like, oh, this person, you know, Tommy Sedita is answering a lot of questions. He must know what he's talking about." And then you can go in and search through their local meetups, right? So my buddy in Boca, he runs a meetup. I don't even think it's on meetup.com, but it's strictly through Bigger Pockets. So Bigger Pockets, you can set up your own meetups through them and promote it on the site. So
what's your buddy's name? Because I'm not far from Boca.
Emmanuel Pani. He was on a coaching call. I had him on, I don't know, probably 6 months ago at this point.
I think I saw him. Yeah, I think I saw him on there. It's listed as meetup group. I'm almost positive because that name sounds familiar.
He runs a pretty good sized multifamily group, and he has an Airbnb group now. So
I'll link up with him.
He's awesome. He's one of my best friends, and he's got like 42 units. And he owns half of them. So he's been in the game. He's an OG. He's been in the game since like, I don't know, 2012 or something crazy, or 2014.
Good deal. All right, I appreciate that. I'm actually just got to where I'm going, so I got to hop off the call. But thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, I'm going to transition over to the Facebook group. Andrea was having issues with AirDNA last night. I'm not sure what that is. I would message them if it's still not working for you. I haven't had that issue. Chris asked, So Mike, you asked a couple weeks ago during the coaching call if there was anything you needed to co-host on Hampton Beach. Oh, okay. Yep. He was just giving me some info about that market. Thank you, Chris. Chad/Dan posted, there's a deal in my area that is showing promising returns, is shown below. In the area, having a pool is something that significantly increases a property's average daily rate on Airbnb, but the property I'm looking at does not have one. After manually looking at comps on Airbnb, it seems that the AirDNA rentalizer returned an ADR for this property that is extraordinarily high given the lack of a pool. Does anyone know if the AirDNA rentalizer takes into account these types of characteristics, like having a pool when it chooses comps for algorithms? That I doubt it, to be totally honest with you. I think
Mike, I actually can follow up on that because I was looking a bit more into it. So long as you're subscribed to the specific market where you're looking up a rentalizer, you know, a rentalizer output, you can see on the map the actual comps that it uses. So just to note, you know, in case anybody's in a market where something like, you know, a pool is particularly important or anything else, it doesn't actually, at least in this case, it didn't account for that, which could be a swing for certain properties of, you know, an average of $50 to $100 average daily rate. So just a heads up for anybody looking into a market like that has a specific characteristic of the home.
Right.
AirDNA
which is what I
for it.
Exactly. So that's what I figured. I would also just be mindful that there might be other features, not just a pool, why some properties are generating more revenue than others from an average daily rate. So I wouldn't just assume that it's only the pool that's doing that. There might be other things, whether it's the location or some other amenities, or it's just nicer, has better photos, whatever it is. It's definitely a factor, but I wouldn't say that I would look at it and say, are there any other features of the property that you looked at that the other properties do not have?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe pools are deal breakers. I don't know that market, so I don't want to steer you either way. I just want to give you another thing to think about as you're going through. But you're 100% right. As far as like when you actually own the market report from AirDNA, you can see whatever it is, the 5 comps that it's pulling, and you can click on them. It'll take you right to the listing.
Yeah.
So, Chad also said Airbnb is very active in my market, and I would like to start reaching out to current Airbnb hosts with subpar listings.
This is the question I was asking earlier, but
okay. Let's see. Oh yeah. Sorry. Tommy posted about somebody needing a property in Miami. Cool. Tracy said, I'm working on our owner monthly spreadsheet for payments and wondering where you obtain the graphs and other images for the spreadsheet. They're just right in Smart B&B, Tracy. Smart B&B. And from Airbnb. So like if you're just on Airbnb, you can get the market averages for those. So like if I like to show my owners what the average daily rate is in the market and what our average daily rate is, because we always beat it. Same thing with occupancy rates, because then it shows them, they're like, oh, well, why were we only at 50% occupancy this month, as an example? And it's like, well, the rest of the market was at 17%. So you're welcome. So I always like to have that market comparison in there because it gives them context. Michael said, I just started doing research in my area on AirDNA. I live about 10 miles south of Philly in South Jersey. I would like to work with the South Jersey area, but have noticed that the majority of towns in my close radius have little to no listing data. Is that a bad sign or a sign or an untapped? Is that a bad sign or a sign of an untapped strategy in that market? Could be either way. Yeah. Kasim said also check the legality of doing it, which I completely agree. Dave, what do you know about South Jersey? Any regs? All right. Yeah, that's fine. I wanted to just in general. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah, he's not aware off the top of his head, but he always said that, which I also agree, to just call the city hall. It's the easiest, fastest way to figure that out. But as far as like the number of properties in a market, if it's small, that's not it's not necessarily bad. You have little to no competition. So I wouldn't steer away from it just because there's not a lot of people there. I would go back to your fundamentals of who do you want to serve and why would they want to go to that market? What would draw people to that market? Michael also said he's got a question about the 6 bank accounts for co-hosting. Is that a one-time setup for all properties combined or 6 accounts per property? It is for all of them combined. Dustin said, anyone have an STR website up and running? They'd like to share any feedback. So I just sent him mine. Sean had a question. He's been using some other Z-Wave locks and seeing if it would be compatible, but I don't think it will. So I would say no. Andrea had some technical AirDNA questions that she figured out, so I'm not too worried about it. And I think that's it, guys. I don't see any other questions in here. All right, cool. So let's go on a quick tour of this place and I'll swing the camera around. So I'll take you guys outside, kind of show you hopefully this isn't too like rickety and Blair Witch Project. I hope you don't get motion sickness, but it's on a fairly busy street. So we do want to make sure that we're going to let guests know that it is a little noisy. So there's street parking here if we want, but there's also, so there's 2 units. This is a beautiful 3-bed, 2-bath house. It's a really good size. Right down here is like a cool outlet. We've got a huge 3-car garage, which is going to be the 2nd unit. So this is already actually an Airbnb Plus unit above the garage. So the owner lives here, but he's moving. So he wants me to take it over and just take over this one since he's moving. So this is the garage. So we'll have some parking here. And we've been going back and forth. We're probably going to give access to the garage to guests. For this project, this property up here, here's the main entrance. It has a keypad code to get in here. For the main house, instead of making them park here and then walk all the way around, what we're thinking is we'll have a keypad over here for the garage, which is not here yet, which is why I can't open it for you just now. But we'll have that open up. I'm looking on some different technology now to see how I can change the codes. So they can go through here, then they basically go out the back side of the garage through a door that takes them into the backyard. I'll show you the backyard. If I can open it, there we go. So it's got a nice backyard. We got tons of trash from this build out, and I've got plenty more inside. But my wife just got some cool furniture for back here. We've got some cornhole games that we're going to set up. And so this would be the door that they come out of from the garage, and then they just come up here. I just got the Yale lock set up earlier. So that's all set up now. Here, I'm going to change this doorknob. A little tip for you guys: if the doorknob locks like this one, change it, because people lock this and then they lock themselves out because they don't have a key to unlock this from the outside. So change it. So we're going to be changing that. I got some new furniture up here, some new furniture over here. It's got a sweet grill. My wife got all this set up and a cool little fire pit over here. And then there's like a little gazebo over here, some furniture over there, and we'll do some string lights, which we haven't set up yet, but make this area really pop. The garage is a little crazy, a little messy right now. So what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm just giving them a quick tour. Can I go up here? All right, cool. All right. So they just finished cleaning, so I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna take my shoes off. So this is the unit above the garage. Very cool setup. So you come in. I'm gonna have to get him like a Roku stick because this was already furnished and running. So for our systems, we're gonna get rid of the cable, set up PS View through the Roku stick. Very cool kitchen. It's got these like reclaimed wood counters up here, or these shelves. It's a really cool look. Nice bathroom with a huge walk-in shower. And over here, got the nest. So again, this was already done and already up and running, and it's on Airbnb Plus. So I'm not allowed to touch it. Airbnb, if you change anything, if you're on Airbnb Plus, you're not allowed to change anything once they approve it. So we're just letting this one ride, and I'm just going to take over the running the listing. So again, the second bathroom, second full bath. Then you've got the kids' room in here. Some funky sheets and stuff. This is pretty cool. So you get a full-length mirror plus some shelving on the side of it. And then you've got this thing, because there's no closet in here, but they have this like makeshift little hanger rack, which is pretty cool. Come over here. We've got another bedroom with a desk. Oh. I have to get that fixed. Light switch is not working in here, so I have to get this fixed. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the garage unit. Again, same thing, since there's no closet, they just have these like hanging makeshift shelves, and then this like bookshelf style thing with a mirror on the side, which is pretty cool. And so that is the garage apartment. Very cool space. Oh, they've got these guards too for kids, which is great. I've had owners at some of my other properties ask for that, so I might be adding that to my checklist for the future. And so this is the entrance that they would come in from here. And there's this cool little sitting area. I know it's a little dark. It's a cool little sitting area. Some nice artwork over here. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna show you the main house. Yeah. So if they park in here, this is all gonna get cleared out. So once we get all this cleared out, basically for the main house, they'll get a garage spot and a parking spot, and then they will have to walk through this way, which isn't ideal, but we're gonna make it work. Come through here. And then they'll use the keypad to get in. And then this is the main house. So it's a little crazy, a little messy right now. Bunch of boxes and stuff. So this is my wife's work. We got this giant couch over here. That was actually here and we had it cleaned. The thing is huge. This is actually where I slept last night. Just got the TCL TV hooked up today. Beautiful kitchen. I know it's kind of a mess, but you've got this like beautiful wood butcher block counters. You've got these like high-end Thermador like refrigerator that looks like a cabinet. Everything in here is really high-end and beautiful. Really, really nice kitchen. I love this kitchen. You've got the bathroom over here. One of the bathrooms over here. Nothing crazy, pretty basic. Just like a regular subway tile, but it is pretty cool. Like it's got some character, this like arch. House is built in the 20s. think it was 1920. It was either 1920 or 1912. It's an old home. It's had some updates and some renovations. Nice living room with some new living room furniture. Pretty cool. Mural of the Dallas skyline. So in here, we're gonna have a nice couch. We're just waiting for it to get delivered. Some new rugs that'll pop in some pictures. You get the cool hanging chair that I was hanging out with you guys. This thing is awesome. I might have to get one of these for my house. It's really cool. I like it a lot. And then over here, this is like actually the front door that we're not gonna use because I'd have to like drill out, again, this is a really old home. So this is actually how you use the deadbolt. And I'm not drilling out this old door and like changing out all of this. Like I'm just not doing that. So guests are gonna come in the back door. Plus it keeps a lot of the foot traffic away from the front. So, you know, the neighbors aren't seeing a million guests going in and out all the time. And so we have a day bed in here that can sleep another person. And we're going to put above this, because it's obviously glass and see-through, we'll do some curtains that'll be like blackout. And we'll probably change these curtains to make it blackout so it'll all match. And then we'll come up here, and really cool architecture, like this circular door. So it's interesting, I guess back in the 20s, a lot of these old homes, you know, they built these massive homes. Again, don't mind the mess. So I was just getting this set up before the call. Again, just the 32-inch Rokus that I like for the bedrooms. I've got the Marathon alarm clocks that I like to recommend with the 2 USB ports. All the white linens with the white duvet covers on them. Very cool old fireplace. But as I was saying, in the 20s, nice soaking tub, don't mind all the crap in here. Huge bathroom with like a walk-in over here. A huge closet. So I keep getting off track, but basically when the Depression hit, a lot of these old mansions got converted into multifamily apartments. And that was the case for this. So this, apparently this used to be like a kitchen. They converted this to a kitchen before, and the previous owner like basically reconverted it back to a big single family house. So that's why some of the proportions seem odd. So this bathroom, let me see here. So they just painted this. This was like a wood color, just like this. And they painted it blue, and it actually looks pretty cool. So I like it, looks good. It's different, it's got some character to it. And again, you've got like the rounded subway tile showers in there with a tub. Plenty of storage. I'll show you the laundry room up here with another set of stairs going down. This will be a queen bed. You know, I'm just gonna get that built. I got somebody coming tomorrow to build that. I got the TV set up. And then in here, this will be the kids' room. So we've got a trundle, which is like a bunk bed with a third mattress that will slide out from the bottom. So this will sleep 3 munchkins in here. And this is really cool. I got to figure out like a ladder or something, but it's even painted in here. It's like a cool like kids nook that's like all painted. Like I feel like hide and seek would be amazing. Camp Clubhouse is painted in there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's pretty cool. Just like a random nook up here. That's all like finished, which is pretty cool. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I gotta get this set up in here. What else? I think that's pretty much it, guys. So that is, let me swing this around. Come on. Swing this around. All right, so that's the tour of this place. Now we ordered everything here. had the owner's sister-in-law basically bring in as much as she could and unbox as much as she could. And then we hired some folks off of handy.com to build out most of the furniture. Then my wife came down over the weekend to kind of tell everybody where to put everything and just check in. And quite frankly, I just wanted her to go and just be a part of the build out. So she came down, you know, told everybody where to put all the art, found a linen service that I just dropped off. This whole thing was covered with linens earlier, just boxes and boxes and boxes of linens. So I dropped that off at a linen service. They're going to have all that ready to go, and they'll actually deliver it here tomorrow for free. So what's left for me, find my piece of paper, is one, I'm figuring out how to use this like smart garage door opener. Obviously now I got to figure out how to do access to a garage. I got to get the Ring cameras set up. Some other little odds and ends things. Let's see what else I got on my list. TVs are pretty much set up. Then I got to do the house manual, the cleaning manual, print the supply list, and just figure out the garage access. That's pretty much what I got to do. And then we're good to go. So you guys have any questions on that? I know I went through it pretty quick as far as like how we did it, but it's literally the same as what I teach you guys. It's just doing it in a different market. And instead of me being on the ground to like build it out, one, I wanted to come down here and hang out with Dave, but we have another property that we're launching right now in North Carolina that I have not been to, that it's fully built out. We're building the listing now and it'll be ready to go. So like you could absolutely do this without even going there.
And Mike, this is Bernie. I have a couple of questions.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if you're at liberty to go through it, but so seeing it is definitely very different. So are you at liberty to go through like how much it costs to set up the main house and the garage unit, and then maybe also, you know, what the income potential is of those two units? So
I'm not going to discuss the specifics for this deal, but I will tell you for a 3-bed. So another deal that we're working on right now is a 2-family. I might have shown you guys some of those videos, or if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of those videos. It's a first floor is a 1-bedroom, and then the upstairs a 3-bedroom, and the total for both units was like 32 grand. And the income potential around that should be about 100 between the 2 units, like gross, maybe 110 for both units. So I always tell people, like, if it's a 2-bedroom, I would budget, I say 10 if you're going to do it yourself and you really just, I don't know, like if you're going to physically be there and do it yourself, you could probably do it for 10, maybe 12. But like what we're doing now, I don't want to do that. So I budget in extra costs for paying people, like linen service. I could have spent all day and all night folding linens. Instead, I dropped it off and it's going to cost $180 that I'll bill back to the owner. I'm not doing that, right? Like my time is too valuable to just be banging out laundry while I'm here. So the same thing with like building out furniture. Yes, I could go build that queen bed right now if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pay somebody to come and do it. So I just build that into my budget. And then I charge, I don't charge Dave because he's a friend, but for like clients, I charge like a design fee. Like we charge clients $1,500 to $2,500 depending. And like, I don't know if Demetrius is still on, but like now he's working with my wife. Students are getting it for $997. But like our base for clients starts at $1,500 and it goes up from there, depending on the number of bedrooms. So, because it's, again, whether you're gonna do it yourself, you're gonna hire it out, like you shouldn't be eating those costs. maybe you eat a little bit on your first deal just to get a track record, but like you shouldn't be shooting yourself short. I mean, I've done it a lot, like to get some deals, and I built a track record, so I don't do that anymore. But the goal should be that you just build that into your budget when you're talking to owners. And I would always pad the budget a little bit too, just in case, because you'd rather come up and bill them a little bit less and look like a hero than have to go back to them and be like, hey, it's going to be an extra $700. Like, nobody wants to hear that. So I don't know if that answers your question directly, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. It gives a good idea, especially after just seeing you do a walkthrough and seeing all the nice high-end stuff you got in there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a lot of it's from Amazon, some of it's from Wayfair. Like, it's not like super high end. It looks high end,
yeah,
but it's not. Like that chair, I think I asked my wife, I'm like, how much is this thing? Because I want one. I think she said it was like $250. Like, to me, I look at this chair and I'm like, that thing's got to be like $1,000. Like, that thing is friggin' sweet. It's huge, but it's $250. But it has an aesthetic look, and quite frankly, this thing is going to photograph amazing in this corner. Like, this is going to be like a highlight photo. Like, I don't know a lot of Airbnbs that have that, like, around here in a living room. You know, some of them might have it outside, but not inside the house. So, let's see.
Mike, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
How important is the garage access for guests, especially like with my house?
It's usually not. Like, I told them I didn't want to give access because they store a lot of supplies out there. But the only way to get access to this main house is going to be through that garage, because I don't want them to have to park and then walk all the way around the block to go in the front door, and then have to deal with like using an Igloo lock versus the Yale locks that I like, because the front door isn't compatible. Like, I basically had to do the garage for this one. I don't think it's necessary, but normally it wouldn't be necessary. Just in this circumstance, like, I just had to make it work. And I fought him on it for a little while, and then I was like, all right, you're right. Like, there's no other way to do this. It sucks. But
that makes sense. It's just, I just didn't want people using the garage because I've been using that as storage currently. And I just wanted to make sure that's not important when it comes to listings.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a perk. I mean, I don't think it would be a huge perk in your market. So I wouldn't think it would be, you know, if you're up in New England where I am and you get a foot of snow all the time, it's nice to have a garage, but in the South or in the desert, I don't think it matters at all. So, let's see. Any other questions, guys? I'm gonna stop moving because I feel like I'm giving you guys motion sickness. I apologize. I pace when I'm standing on the phone. Anything else?
No, just like what Bernie said, just seeing the build out and what you actually have physically there helps visually to see what it actually takes.
Yeah, it's all the little stuff that it just takes time, quite frankly. Like, my list isn't that big, but I know I'll be cutting it close like I do every friggin' time. Like, it's just the way that it works. So, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't know if I got anything else, but I'm happy to answer any of the questions you guys have, or if you want to see anything else. So again, we just used Handy. My wife has a partnership with Wayfair now, so that's how she's doing some of the pricing for Demetrius on his stuff. And so Wayfair partnered with Handy. They caught on to what I was doing, and they partnered with Handy now. So if you have a corporate account like we do, Wayfair will send Handy to go build out your stuff, and they'll coordinate it. So I guess I was on to something when I figured that out. So now they're doing it. But that's pretty much it. Like, and now I've got the guy's number that came and worked with my wife when he was here. She said he was a rock star, And so now he's coming back to do a bunch of little odds and ends stuff that weren't on his punch list. And now I have his phone number directly, so I can just pay him. Like, she was like, oh, how much would it be to like hang some more of this art for me? And he was like, oh, I don't know, $20. She's like, boom, here you go. Boom, go do it. And now I've got his cell phone number. So when I'm back in Boston, if something comes up, I've got that guy's number and I've got Dave's handyman number. So I've got two different numbers now and contacts, and I don't have to go through Handy anymore and pay a premium. I can just work directly with this guy. And I did the same thing in North Carolina. The handyman that I got off of handy.com for my first North Carolina listing is the same dude that built out an entire listing for me remotely. Like, he built the whole thing for me and would just FaceTime with me and just be like, all right, where do you want this? Where do you want this? You know, he was coordinating access with the homeowner at one point to just, all right, how do I get in? What's the Wi-Fi? And just built out the whole thing for me. So it's not magic. It's just adding one extra step to what we're doing. I know it feels better when you can go here and do it yourself, but you really don't need to. It's just more of a control freak issue. And I am a control freak, I'll admit it, but I'm learning to let that go. So, all right, guys, anything else? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, bye, guys.
Thanks, Mike.